I am Gymnast86, and today I'm going to be one of the commentators on a Wind Waker HD any% race between Linkus7 and Ian Miles, who are currently the top two runners for the any% category of the game. And with me, I have co-commentator Fuzziness, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Fuzzy. I used to run this game as well a while ago.
All right, so before we get started here on what's sure to be an epic race, I just want to take some time to ask Linkus and Ian a few questions, because we do have them here with us. Or at least we have Linkus here. I don't know where Ian is, but we're going to figure that out. Oh, there he is. Okay. You're a little late, Ian.
Oh, wait, hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
cool.
turn off the TV from
Shit,
Wind
you're
Waker.
right. My bad. Okay, we're good.
He's smart.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
All right, yeah. So Linkus and Ian, how are you guys feeling right now going into this race?
Feeling good. I'm hoping. No, it feels good. I hope that both of us gets a good manual super sim going
That'll be good.
because if the first trick goes badly for one of us, it's already gonna put us very separate. So it's not gonna be as exciting of a race for the viewers. So I hope it goes pretty equal for both of us.
All right, Ian, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm just what Linkus said, man.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty much it.
Are there any other specific things, maybe besides the manual super swim, that you guys are trying to look out for, hoping that you get first try, maybe?
Quiver.
Yeah,
clip.
we're both not doing the route for the when we're doing record pace runs, that is, because that route has some one shot or you lose minutes kind of a tricks like door clip and stuff like that. So we're doing a bit of a safer route. It loses about 2 minutes, but it's way safer for a marathon and a race and stuff like that.
For sure.
So I'm pretty sure hopefully we don't mess up, for example, like he said, quiver clip, which is a clip coming up later, which is sort of Janice will explain when we get there. And also there's only a few parts that really can go wrong, like the super swim to Forsaken Fortress with when you have the layers active and that stuff. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a very exciting race.
All right. I guess one last question. Is there any part of the run, or which part of the run do you think is the most exciting to watch?
Ooh.
Because I know there's a lot of exciting parts, so I'm putting you on the spot here.
I would say with this route, I would honestly say for people looking into it from people that don't know this run before, I would say endgame because of barrier skip. Honestly. And yeah, if you don't know how layers and flags work and you haven't seen this route before, I also think that's going to be really cool because there's going to be some interesting manipulations with flags too. So I think both of those parts will be very exciting.
Yeah, everything past barrier skip pretty much, like Papa Ganon, Morthover.
All right, well, thank you very much for taking the time to answer some questions, and I believe we will get started with the race right away then. So thank you guys for joining me.
Of course.
All right. Good luck with the commentary.
Thank you. All right, so we're about to get started here. Would you like to say anything, Fuzzy?
I'm not too sure. I apologize. It'll be good.
Yeah, both of these runners are genuinely very consistent. As long as they can get past the first few minutes of the run consistently, then it looks like we should be in for quite a race today.
Yeah. Manual Super Sim used to be considered like a task thing, but people have been developing the game quite a lot.
Yeah, and it looks like we are off. Linkus and Ian both starting their games. It's important to note right here that this is Wind Waker HD, so it is a remake of the original title for the GameCube game. And one of the nice things about the HD remake is that you can skip the intro cutscene, which is normally 3 minutes and 40 seconds long. So just allows you to get to the action a little bit quicker here.
And it also has a more than one controller option, which is also nice. So if you want to play using the gamepad or if you want to play using the Pro Controller, it's one of the advantages of the game.
Yeah, so both of our runners are actually starting out with the Pro Controller here. Or no, excuse me, with the gamepad. The gamepad is generally the more advantageous controller because it allows you to aim around with gyro aiming, which is much better than stick aiming in most runners' opinions. and it also allows you to swap items with the gamepad on the touchscreen without having to pause the game at all. Additionally, you'll notice that the runners are not playing the game in English, as I'm sure many speedrun fans know. We're playing the game in the fastest language for Wind Waker HD, which is Italian. Italian, it's only available on PAL consoles, but if you have an NTSC console, you can use the Spanish version of the game, which is only about 8 seconds slower for any percent over Italian. So no matter where you got your copy of the game, it's nice that you can be able to play on one of the fastest languages.
Both these people are both using PAL, I believe.
Yeah, they're both using PAL.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we start out here, both the runners are going to side hop down into the water in front of Outset, and they're both going to begin pausing relentlessly, right? Alright, so what's happening right here is known as the manual super swim, and it is pretty undeniably the most difficult trick in the entire run. So when Link is in water and he turns around, his turnaround animation only takes a single frame. And every time that Link turns around, he also loses 3 units of speed. So you can sort of just keep on chaining that over and over again, turning around every single frame that Link is in water. And by doing that, you can build up a lot of negative speed, negative in quotation marks. But it's generally just speed that's going in the backwards direction compared to Link's orientation. So that's what these runners are doing right now. They're pausing, they're unpausing for a frame to turn Link around, and then they're just essentially repeating that over and over again. And they have to do this until they get at least negative 600 speed, roughly. It's not an exact, but that's roughly the speed that they need, which optimally takes 200 frame-perfect pause buffers. And obviously, you know...
Sorry.
That's okay. They can't see what their speed value is, but thankfully they can sort of judge it by how far Link is moving between the frames that they're pausing.
Yeah, but even with the visual cue, like you can just tell by sound and how quick the screen's flashing. There's so many ways of knowing if you get it right.
Yeah. What is kind of scary about this, though, is that you can lose a lot of speed if you accidentally pause 1 frame early after you unpause, because then Link will be swimming for a few frames, and it's possible for him to lose a lot of speed if you end up accidentally letting the control stick go neutral, just due to various complicated mechanics of the game. So right here we can see that Ian, he successfully got to around negative 600 speed, and from this point onwards, he can do what's known as the upcharge, right? So he can essentially just hold up on the control stick from this point, and due to how the game's camera works, essentially the camera will just be flipping around to face Link every frame, and so this way you can charge up the rest of the Super Swim without having to pause at all. It's a little scary right now, though. He's low on air, and he needs to get another refill, so he's going to attempt to be very careful right here as he goes for the air refill spot on Outside. Looks like he got it, and he is... Okay, yes, very nice. He got it. He's going to be doing a little more upcharging so that he gets enough speed, because the runners are going to want to super swim all the way over to Dragon Roost Island right now. So Ian
Link is also going for it, to see if he gets it.
Yep, Linkus got the upcharge also. Very nice. So he's a little bit behind Ian, but there's definitely a lot of potential for him to catch up.
So when you do this upcharge, if you look at Links's right now, Link will be facing directly at the camera. The camera will no longer be spinning, and that's how you know you pretty much got it.
Yeah, when you get it, you'll essentially just see the background shift every frame as the camera attempts to face Link.
And Ian makes it to Dragon Roost Island.
Yeah, so making it all the way to Dragon Roost, that pretty much skips like the first half hour of the game or so. It's pretty big. Unfortunately, we can't skip everything in that first half hour, so we will be coming back, or the runners will be coming back to do some of that stuff a little bit later in the round.
And you don't see the boat because you don't trigger the boat earlier on the run, so he's not even there.
Yeah, for some reason there are just some actors in this run that they just like don't really exist until you pass certain story checkpoints, but obviously we've skipped over like pretty much all the story checkpoints right here.
So despite Linkus getting a later super swim at the beginning, he actually had a pretty good speed, so he didn't lose that much time in comparison to Ian in this pod.
Yeah, so right now Ian's doing the rock skip on Dragon Roost Island to skip having to go and blow up any of the boulders. Pretty easy trick, so he was able to get it first try, which is very nice.
The bombs are pretty slow.
Yeah, you just roll off the rock on the bottom, and you can jump up all the way to the top level, and then jump around the last boulder. Yeah, so at this point, the run's a little bit strange. You start out with this very intense trick, right? The manual super swim. And then you come to this part, and it's kind of like a bit of downtime for a while. Like you have
It's
a bunch
very
of
chill.
cutscenes. Yeah, you get the bottle, you talk to Medley, you know.
It's kind of weird because on the GameCube version of this game, you just skip this whole section because you have the deck leaf already, so you can go straight into the dungeon. But this part's pretty much glitchless for the most part.
Yeah, so Linkus was actually able to save a second or two over Ian because he was able to do a really good rock skip and not grab the ledge on the other side of the rock as we saw a few moments ago. So that was very nice by him. So we're probably not going to see too much fluctuation between the runners, probably until we get into like the middle of Dragon Roost Cavern or so.
Also, another thing to note, this game is barely under 1 hour. So at the point of this game, it's all about shaving seconds.
Yeah, that's true. Because, yeah, very recently the record was brought under 1 hour by Ian Miles. So for anyone who's familiar with Wind Waker HD any percent, we should be noting that our runners are doing the layer manipulation route instead of the door clip route. They mentioned that in the beginning during our pre-race interview, but in case anyone just came in, just know that they're going to be doing the layer manipulation route instead of the slightly faster but much more non-friendly door clip route.
Yeah, it's basically like there's a trick in the game where it's frame perfect and there's no actual cue for it. You just happen to get the right pause frame. It's not the most fun trick in the world. But in terms of race, this is probably a much more enjoyable, more friendly route anyway to watch, so it's always good.
Yeah, so right now, the players, or the runners, excuse me, they're getting the delivery bag, then they're getting Komale's letter. They have to show the letter to Komale, and then they have to go outside and get the bottle from Medley, which they can use to activate a bomb flower to blow up a rock, make a pond appear, and finally make their way into Dragon Roost Cavern. Still just got a few more minutes of that.
See, another thing about this run is you don't even pick up the sword at the beginning.
Yeah, that's right. Normally, when you go through Outset, you want to go get the sword from Orca so that you can normally go up to save Tetra from the Bokoblins. But our runners didn't get the sword, and they're not going to be getting a sword until around the 35-minute mark of this run. So they're going to have to go through the first half of Dragon Roost Cavern with no sword, because they only need to go through half of it. The entire reason that the runners are coming to Dragon Roost Cavern is so that they can get to the grapple hook, which is when the real game breaking is going to begin. Also, interestingly, when you're in this little pond area, however fast you mash through the text with Medley doesn't really matter since you need to wait for the wind cycle anyway to be able to throw her. Thankfully, it lines up really well, so right after you finish talking to her, you pick her up, you take her to the elevated point, and then you can throw her pretty much almost immediately with the change of the wind, which is very nice.
Get a bit of leniency. It's not too strict.
Yes, now Ian has collected water in his bottle, and he's going to be going up to use it on the closest bomb flower that's up here at the top. One interesting thing to note about the rock that he's going to throw the bomb flower on is that for some reason you can't blow that bomb up with regular bombs. It has to be a bomb flower, which is kind of strange programming, but that's how it works. So even though, you know, it's possible to get the bombs before going into Dragon Roost Cavern, you wouldn't be able to skip the bottle because that rock only responds to bomb flowers. So here goes Ian. He's going to be throwing the bombs into these 2 pots. There is a very risky time saver you can go for that saves like 1 second with a bomb boost across the gap right here. But if you fail it, then you respawn at the beginning of the area and you lose like 20 seconds. So
Are people still in the bomb boost and runs? I can't remember.
I think Razin does, but I think he's the only one.
I remember that strat.
Yeah, so now Ian has entered into Dragon Roost Cavern, which is pretty much the only dungeon that our runners will be entering in this run. Dragon Roost Cavern is a very technical dungeon. There is lots and lots and lots of tiny optimizations and small time savers. So, you know, the difference between a good runner and a great runner is seen through those optimizations and how well they're utilized. Such as, you know, things like throwing torches, side hopping with pots, all of that good stuff. Generally, movement, well, in Wind Waker and Wind Waker HD, things like jump slashes and side hops are generally pretty useful for like single movement uses. Or if Link is carrying something above his head, then side hopping is the fastest form of movement. But also, as we mentioned earlier, because the runners have no sword, we can see Linkus over here. He used a pot on the Bokoblin to knock it down so that he could get the lit torch to spawn the chest with the small key. So pretty much wherever you normally need a sword in this dungeon, you can just substitute that with pots, which is very nice.
The convenience of the developers right there.
We can also see Ian on the right here, going for another small optimization, which is just rolling during the cutscene where the rock is blowing up with the bomb flower, and then being able to stand at the beginning of the door immediately and open it right away.
So one thing to note, there is a tiny bit of RNG, excuse me bro, but yeah, a tiny bit of RNG in this dungeon. It's just the enemies, the patterns are always a little bit different. So sometimes your pots or chairs that are on, for example, can miss. And you gotta come up with like some backup strats in the spot.
Yeah, particularly the room that Ian is in right now. When he threw the pot at the first Bokoblin, he actually, like, there's a chance that the Bokoblin can hit you, and if the Bokoblin hits you, then he also breaks the pot, so you have to go up and get another one. And if the Bokoblin hits that one also, then you have to reload the room. So hopefully that doesn't happen to Linkus or good. Yeah, okay, he got the good RNG, so he was able to get the sword right away. Ian on the right here, once again using rocks to knock down this Bokoblin with the stick. The runners are also getting a fair amount of rupees in this dungeon. They're both going to need a total of 80 rupees to buy the sail later. And the sail is never used, but unfortunately for this route, you need to buy the sail if you want to avoid a soft lock that would normally happen.
What's another thing to know about this game is generally, sorry, excuse me. Generally in this game, you need to kind of like turn the camera while rolling. It's something you get used to while playing it a lot.
Yeah, this game has a free cam, which can be very effective if you utilize it correctly so that you know where you're going. Also, we can see Ian doing some other tiny optimizations right there. Whenever you have a ledge that you need to climb up, if you can jump up to that ledge, that's always faster than just trying to climb up the ledge regularly. And here we can see more side hops before pulling the block because those places are low enough. Ian, interestingly, is getting the rupees in the secret cave right here. Not really sure why, but that'll give him the rupees that he needs. And we can see Linkus on the left over here going for a one-frame roll to jump over this gap without having to hang walk on it, which saves time. But yeah, there's a secret gap back there if anybody didn't know. It's going to give Linkus some time to catch up. Yeah, because Linkus is not going for the secret area. Also, even though the runners never collected the Gossip Stone, all the Gossip Stone text in the game exists, so they'll have to trigger all of it if it's in their way. Also, looks like Ian unfortunately got hit down by the rat right there, but that's okay. He was able to get his rupees back.
Makes it closer.
Oh, the rat got him again. The rat can get you during the cutscene, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, so more small keys. The runners making their way through Dragon Roost Cavern. Only seconds apart right now, which is really cool.
Linkus still has to collect the rupees at the end of the boss fight.
That is true, yeah. Currently, Ian has more than 40 rupees, so he does not have to rely on some rupee RNG that'll happen in a few moments, which Linkus will likely have to rely on. If he doesn't get it, though, it's not that big of a deal. It's only like, you know, about 15 seconds.
It's another tiny optimization there is throwing the pod against the wall by the flame, so the stick sets on fire before you pick it up.
And so we might see some different RNG between these runners in the next room. This is the triple Bokoblin room, where you have to defeat 3 Bokoblins with one of their swords. We actually start this room by throwing a chair to knock down the first Bokoblin. And then,
doesn't the chair do more damage?
No, the chair does the same amount of damage. Interestingly, looks like Linkus was trying to group them up right there, but looks like he was able to kill that first one. Ian's grouping up the last 2 right here, and oh, that was actually very good for Ian. He got hit while he did the last piece of damage to the Bokoblin, so the sword got automatically dropped out of his hands, which was really nice. And though
it's
we
pretty
didn't
crazy. Sorry. I'll let you
I was
go
just going to say that even though we didn't touch on it last time, there was actually a small cutscene skip that the runners did with the water pot in the 4th room of the dungeon. You can go now.
It's pretty crazy how big the sword hitbox is in the back.
Yeah. Even if an enemy is behind you, you can sometimes hit it up.
Alright, both on the way to the bosses.
Yeah, so now both of the runners have entered the mini-boss room. So they're going to have to fight 2 green Bokoblins and 1 Moblin. Each of the green Bokoblins has 7 health, and the Moblin has 10 health. And since we don't have a weapon, but we have pots, obviously we're going to start out by using pots. Thankfully, the sword that these Bokoblins have does 2 damage each. So 4 hits on these Bokoblins, or 3 hits on the one that gets hit by the pot, and that's good. Unfortunately, Ian had a little bit of bad luck right there. He got hit, and the Bokoblin went to pick his sword back up, so that actually is causing him to be behind Linkus now. And then now it's time for the Moblin. 5 hits for the Moblin. If you're close enough, the last hit will actually hit twice, or as we saw with Linkus right there, he got a double hit on the 3rd hit. Which is very nice. Ian threw the sword at the Moblin. That's a good strategy. And yeah, so it looks like Linkus was able to get the orb drop, so that gives him the rupees that are necessary. Looks like, well, yeah, both Linkus and Ian got the orb drop, and they both got it. Yep, okay, very good. So now both runners are going to get, arguably, the game's most broken item, which is the grapple hook. The grapple hook is going to allow the runners to do a very convenient glitch known as item sliding. And to utilize this, they're first going to do a save warp, and due to the fact that we skipped over lots of the story flags earlier in the game, the runners are actually going to spawn directly back at Outset Island when save warping out of this dungeon. Normally when you save warp in dungeons, you get put back at the beginning of the dungeon, but because of how save warp flags work in this game, that rule hasn't been put into effect yet. Yeah, so now we see Linkus over here. He slid forward very fast. That was an item slide. Both Ian and Linkus are going to now traverse their item slides into super swims, which can be used to very easily cross the Great Sea at very fast speeds. So they're both going to be going to Windfall Island right now. They have to be a little bit careful, though, because Windfall Island is a bit tricky to go up to. It's a quadrant of water that reloads when you get close to it, so if the runners approached it with too much speed, they would have done what's known as splooshing, and they would have had to try the super swim over again. But yeah, so now both of the runners have to go and enter Tingle and save him from jail. This is unfortunately a requirement for this route because you can't buy the sail unless you've already saved Tingle before. So this is why the runners are doing this. So with the item...
Sorry, mate.
Okay.
I just want to say, we did know that glitch is only exclusive to Wind Waker HD.
Yeah, so with the item sliding glitch, for some reason, they just kind of screwed up how your movement works when you're in first person with an item that you're holding out. So the way that you do it is you begin walking in a direction, and then you begin holding very slightly in the opposite direction after a pause. And then you will, for some reason, just begin to gain exponential speed in the original direction. Specifically, your speed increases by 20% each frame. So you go very fast, very quickly. Much faster than manual super swimming will ever do for you. Alright, so both of the runners have successfully freed Tingle. Due to Linkus's rupee count, he has to go and enter the Sploosh Kaboom minigame to get some extra rupees for the sale. Ian already got those rupees, so he actually is just going to go and get the sale directly, because he got those rupees in Dragon Roost Cavern. And so now he's able to buy the sale for 80 rupees, and that's it for the sale and for rupees. And so now, once again, Ian's going to be doing a super swim, except this time he's going to be going over to the submarine that's near Northern Fairy Isle. This submarine is special because it contains moblins that hold lanterns. And when you don't have a sword, moblins that hold lanterns are programmed to throw you in the Forsaken Fortress jail, regardless of where you are. So that's where our runners are going to end up now after going into the submarine. And so now they're at Forsaken Fortress 1.
Does that still work in SD as well?
Yes, that works the exact same way in the original.
I've never seen an SD.
Wow.
So yeah, you might be wondering why the runners are coming to Forsaken Fortress. Well, it turns out that you need to complete Forsaken Fortress to actually be able to beat the game. If you don't complete Forsaken Fortress, the game will end up crashing later.
So right there, what Ian did in the room before was he did the item slide against the wall for a second, and then he cancelled it using the L target, and that teleported him in the left direction towards the door.
Yeah, so with item sliding, there are different ways to cancel your speed. Normally, you can just, you can just press A to cancel your speed altogether, but if you want to keep your speed out of the first person, then you can press ZL or pull out the bomb or a skull hammer. But obviously, our runners don't have either of those items. Although, this is only the first trip to Forsaken Fortress in this route. The runners are actually coming to Forsaken Fortress to get bombs. And you're probably wondering how you get bombs in Forsaken Fortress. And the answer to that is that there's a pirate ship. So if we look at Ian's screen right here, he's going to do an item slide against this wall, and then he's going to press ZL to go all the way over to this rock, where there's a pirate ship hiding behind. He's going to item slide again to get onto the pirate ship. And the way that the pirate ship in this game works is that if you have triggered the Gossip Stone in Forsaken Fortress 1 that the runners triggered about 30 seconds ago, then you're able to actually access the pirate ship, which has the bombs, regardless of what pirate ship it is. So as we see both Ian and Linkus here on the rock, they're going to be attempting to item slide onto the ship, and because they already triggered the Gossip Stone text in Forsaken Fortress, they're going to be greeted with the pirate ship that has bombs instead of spoils bag.
And Linkus takes the lead on that trick. Ian sadly fell down there, struggled to get climb back up on the rock. It's got a pretty tricky climb spot. But yeah, that part's pretty tricky. Sorry, Jim.
Anyway, yeah, so now the runners are in the second pirate ship, so they have to do the pirate ship minigame with swinging across the ropes.
I was scared for a second for Ian. Sorry, Jim.
No, it's okay. Unfortunately, it's not possible to item slide across this, simply because, as you can see on Linkus' screen right now, on the R button, the grapple hook is dimmed out, so you just can't pull it out. So yeah, no item sliding here. You have to do this room regularly. The ropes in HD are also kind of finicky. They can throw you in random directions sometimes. It's not usually too big of a deal on this version of the rope game, but on other ropes and especially in the very first rope game, which you normally get the spoils bag at, it can be pretty bad sometimes. All right, but both runners have the bombs now. So they're going to be able to do lots of explosive stuff here. There is a bit of gossip stone text that we have to go through afterwards, though. And now comes up probably one of the more, unfortunately, inconsistent tricks in the run. So the runners are going to save warp again, which, due to the flags we explained earlier, is going to take them back to Outset. And from Outset, they're going to do another Super Swim, which will take them to Thorned Fairy Isle, which is on the very most eastern side of the ocean. And at this fairy island, you can get a quiver upgrade. But to get the upgrade, normally you need the skull hammer. So instead, our runners are going to have to do a very tricky clip into the island as they begin to go over there. You can see that Linkus right here is preparing his super swim, and he shoots off, being careful to avoid any island collisions and flat water quadrants. Making his way over to Thorn Ferry, he's going to do an item slide up the side, and he's going to attempt to clip into the island with the item slide. Now, this is very tricky because you need to be in a precise spot with a precise amount of speed to get in there. Very nice. That was good. Second try is always awesome for any run. Yeah, so now we can see Ian attempting it over here. Ian had a little too much speed, which is why he clipped through the island. It's easy to tell if you have too much or too little speed. If you don't clip through, then you didn't have enough. If you did clip all the way through, then you had too much. So that's the way that that works. Yeah, so this quiver upgrade, it's not going to give either of our runners the bow, but it will give them the ability to carry arrows. So you're probably wondering, like, well, why is that useful? Why do we need arrows? And that question will be answered later. Just for now, remember that they got this quiver upgrade, and they're going to be able to shoot arrows later, even though they don't have a bow right now. And now, as we can see on Linkus' screen, he's going to be swimming away from Thorn Ferry all the way to Forest Haven, which is a pretty short swim. Thankfully, Thorn Ferry has a very nice spot that we can do a super swim off of. There is another fairy island on the western side of the ocean, which does have a quiver upgrade, but because there isn't a good super swim spot off of it, it's much better to come and use this one. This fairy island is also closer to Forest Haven for the super swim. We can also see on Linkus' screen right now that he's going to be doing a clip into the island of Forest Haven. And then he's going to pop up to the loading zone, which allows him to get into Forest Haven. Now, it's important to note that when that happens, that's not because loading zones extend infinitely downward. That's because there's water on top of the loading zone, which Linkus actually got popped up into, because this game will always try to bring you to the top of water if you're inside any. Yeah, so now that both runners have entered into the Forest Haven, they have to bonk on the Deku tree and kill all of the chews that are on his face. Let's see there. Alright, very nice. Linkus was able to get a fast one cycle. It's kind of dependent on how the chews decide to spread themselves out, if it's going to work or not. You want them all to be grouped together, since you don't have a sword, so the only way to kill them is with bombs. There is also an additional way that you can skip this cutscene, but unfortunately it's not very safe for a type of race like this, so neither of the runners are going for it. If they were to do it, though, they would save about 20 seconds. Because the way the cutscene skip works is that you actually die right before the fade out to the cutscene. Then you die in the cutscene, and then you respawn at Outset with the cutscene flag having been triggered. So then you have to super swim all the way back to Forest Haven and climb it up again to go get the leaf. Which at that point, even though this cutscene is very long, having to do all that detouring unfortunately makes it only save 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's not the safest strat for a race, because if you fail it, you lose minutes. And as a showcase, it's probably not the best thing to do.
Yeah, it also varies in punishment depending on how you fail it. So, like, for example, if you die too early, that's the worst case scenario. Then you respawn at outset and you have to come back and still watch the cutscene. Whereas if you die too late, in which case you don't die at all, then you just watch the cutscene. Alright, but now Linkus is done with the cutscene, so he'll be item sliding over to the bulbs and climbing them up so that he can go get the leaf, which is a very useful item for this run, because the Deku Leaf pretty much allows you to fly. So, we'll be seeing runners use it throughout. See, I wonder if Linkus or is going to go for bulb skip here. Yep, looks like Linkus is going for it. And he gets it. Very nice. So there's a very precise angle you can line up with right there, which allows you to get up and skip the last bulb that you'd normally have to go into. So, yeah, it saves like 4 seconds. Unfortunately, if you fail it, then you end up losing 40 seconds because you fall all the way down to the ground. So it's a very risky strat to go for. So as we see, Ian's not going for it right here. Anyway, now that oh, no, Ian did go for it, and he failed. Ooh, that's not very good. That's okay, though. He can still come back. So right now, Linkus is actually going to be heading off to Forsaken Fortress again, using the submarine warp that we saw earlier. And this time, though, he has bombs and leaf, so he'll be using those to his advantage here when he completes Forsaken Fortress 1. Because this time, the runners will actually be completing it. Yeah, coming out of this room is pretty much the same, except you go through the other door. Because we have item sliding, we pretty heavily break the Forsaken Fortress normal sequence of events. That side hop that Linkus did right there is actually a cutscene skip, which saves a few seconds. Just gets around the trigger for the cutscene. And then there's another item slide that he's going to be doing right here as he lines up for it that will pretty much skip him across the entirety of Forsaken Fortress, and allow him to access a ladder that's very close to the end. Also, a very nice super swim from Ian on his way to Forsaken Fortress. And we can see Linkus right here using the leaf to cross these gaps. Unfortunately, you can't really use it to cross this gap due to the wind and because item sliding is simply faster. Also, Linkus is going to grapple that Bokoblin right there because that also skips a cutscene, where normally the spikes would rise up behind Link. But for some reason, if you interrupt the animation of the Bokoblin, that cutscene just doesn't play at all. So Linkus has completed Forsaken Fortress, and now he gets to watch a very long cutscene. So we'll focus on Ian for the next little bit of time right here as he goes through his share of Forsaken Fortress. Doing pretty much the exact same thing that Linkus just did. He's gonna roll forward, he's gonna do a side hop. Oh, yeah, okay. He accidentally did a roll there. That's fine, though. As we can see, that cutscene isn't that long. I myself have done that a lot, where I try to skip the cutscene, but I accidentally do a roll forward and just activate it. Alright, he gets the item slide, and now he gets to climb up the ladder. Interesting thing about ladders is that they seem really weird in Forsaken Fortress for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but like some of them it's like really hard to climb up on unless you're heading directly at them, so sometimes you might find it difficult to do that. Also, unfortunately, it looks like Ian did not have a good angle for his item slide, so he unfortunately got caught and is going to get thrown back into prison. This is going to give Linkus a pretty hefty lead right here. Ian just lost about a minute with that. But it's okay, though, because there's still stuff for Ian to catch up with. We still haven't gotten to some of the hardest stuff in the run.
There's definitely stuff at the end where you can lose a lot of time. So he can definitely catch up.
But yeah, so the route that these runners are using, as you mentioned earlier, it abuses a trick known as layer manipulation, which in this game pretty much means that the overworld isn't really in the correct state that it should be right now. There are certain features of the overworld right now that simply aren't present due to what's known as the layer of the current map. And we abuse those by completing Forsaken Fortress right now instead of earlier in the run. And this is also the reason that we have to get the sale right now. Or we have to get the sale before this and get the sale at all. Because if we don't get the sale, then the King of Red Lions will ask us why we haven't gotten the sale, and he won't stop. He's just going to infinitely ask us why we don't have the sale. And unfortunately, there's no way to break that, so that's a soft lock. Alright, Ian was able to finish Forsaken Fortress. Very nice.
So in this layout, the game thinks you're in a cutscene, I believe, and that's pretty much what's going on. And like Jim said, the game has some weird features when the game's in layer 0, so you can do stuff you couldn't normally do.
Well, the game is in... after the cutscene, the game is in layer 8.
My bad.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch of layers. There's like 0 through 9, so it's a number. But yeah, so now Linkus has to talk to the King of Red Lions. This is where the King of Red Lions would soft lock if he didn't have the sale. And what's important right here is that Linkus is not allowed to void out or die or save warp or do anything that would end up reloading the map, right? So he has to be very careful on this super sim over here to not go too fast. Looks like he has good speed, making his way over to Forsaken Fortress yet again. This Forsaken Fortress, though, is different from the Forsaken Fortress that the runners were just at, because this is like Forsaken Fortress 2 or the overworld version of Forsaken Fortress. Forsaken Fortress 1 is on an entirely separate map. And you'll notice that on Linkus' screen, it's still daytime, even though it's supposed to be nighttime at Forsaken Fortress 2 once you come here. And the reason for that is due to the current layer that the game has on the overworld. So on this layer, the time of day doesn't change whenever you go to Forsaken Fortress. So he's item sliding his way up here and using the leaf.
You also notice the spikes are not loaded.
Yeah, there's no spikes. And we're also going to notice that there's no door right here. So Linkus is just going to happily walk right into the Helmarok boss fight. It's also important to note that there was also no Phantom Ganon cutscene where he was. Normally there's like this giant trigger for a fight that the game wants you to do, but because it's layer 8, that trigger is simply not there, and we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, so now Linkus is greeted by more cutscenes. If all of these cutscenes that we're seeing were skippable, this game would probably be around 40 to 45 minutes long. The cutscenes do take up a pretty hefty part of this run here.
It's not too bad, to be honest. You get right into it, so...
Yeah. Also, you'll notice that on Linkus' screen, the pirate Gonzo is missing. This is the same thing that happened earlier when we never saw the King of Red Lions at Dragon Roost, because we never passed the checkpoint to spawn in him. So right here, the girl on the right side is just going to float away. Because normally Gonzo would be carrying her, but there's no Gonzo, so she's just going to squirm through the air.
So now we got Ian as well, going to be making his way to Forsaken Fortress 2.
Yeah, Tetra still addresses Gonzo, and he still has text, so...
Oh, Ian's got his own super swim set up from the boat, it seems.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he got enough speed, so he has to try it again. Yeah, so now on Linkus' screen, Errol just floats away, because the game expects Gonzo to be there. Alright, looks like Ian got good speed now. Yep, alright, and he made it to Forsaken Fortress 2. So now he's going to do the same item sliding sequence that Linkus just did. So normally, when you fight the Helmrock King, you need the Skullhammer to defeat him. But thankfully, there are, like, 6 different ways to skip the Helmrock King. So we're obviously going to be skipping him here. You have to run up this really long ramp at the beginning of the fight, but this is cut very short with item sliding in a pretty humorous way. Just running past everything, and beating the Helmrock King to the top. And then from here, Linkus is going to be attempting to do what's known as a roll clip, which is a 1-frame roll after climbing up the ledge to clip into the wall on his right side. And there we go, he gets it. Now, using the collision below him, he can crawl under the arena and then jump up to the outside ring and make his way around to the path to Ganondorf. So that's the Helmrock skip. That trick is probably about as easy as it looks. It's not very difficult. So if you wanted to try that trick at home, that's probably something you could do.
You also don't have to do the 1-frame input. You can just be on low health and just climb the edge.
Yeah, there's a really easy way to do the roll clip. If you just have low health, you can clip very easily. So on Linkus' screen right here, something very important just happened. So when the camera in-game pans back to Link, you'll notice that Link actually has the Master Sword in his hand right now, despite the fact that we never pulled the Master Sword. And he's also got a Hero's Shield and the Hero's Clothes. So what's important here to recognize is that the game will simply give Link the Master Sword and the Hero's Shield because of this cutscene. For some reason, whenever Link has to draw his weapon or hold it out during a cutscene, the game will actually just directly give him the item when that happens, which is why now we have the Master Sword and the Hero's Shield. But the reason the Master Sword is important is because later the runners are going to need to get light arrows. And to get light arrows, you have to defeat Phantom Ganon to do so. But Phantom Ganon is only, he only gets hurt by the Master Sword. If the runners still had the Hero's Sword, then they would not be able to get light arrows. So the fact that the game gives us the Master Sword right here is extremely lucky, and it's kind of like a miracle that it ends up working out that way. Yeah, so our runners are currently both in cutscenes. If it isn't clear, Linkus is currently in the lead. He's in a later cutscene than Ian is in. Ian is going to be doing Helmrock skip here very soon.
It's definitely a nice part in the run where you get like a good break before the final bit.
Yeah, before the intensity of Ganon's Tower.
Hardest trick in the game, barrier skip coming up. The mystery.
Yeah. All right, so as we can see on Linkus's screen right here, during this cutscene, you're normally supposed to be near the Tower of the Gods, but the Tower of the Gods isn't here because we never raised it, so Baloo's just kind of hovering in the air. Also, Ian Miles, with a pretty good Helmrock skip, he's going to be making his way up to the cutscene that Linkus just watched.
Also, you might notice that Link is in his pajamas again after that cutscene.
Yeah, for some reason, Link, the game gives you the sword and the shield, but it doesn't want you to. It doesn't want you to keep the clothes. It wants you to give those back. Or only a rental.
Maybe it was like a failsafe from a New Game Plus or something. I wouldn't be surprised.
Potentially, maybe, yeah. Yeah, because in the New Game Plus version of this game, you go through the entire game naturally in your pajamas. But the fact that we can complete the run in normal mode with our pajamas is still pretty funny, I think.
All right, so Link is entering Hyrule. One annoying thing about Hyrule in this route is you need to move out the way of the boat right away or he talks to you.
Well, no, not with this route.
Not in this route? Oh, my bad
Not
then.
this route. Yeah, no.
Alright.
Anyway.
So, Linkus right here is going to be doing a clip to get to the barrier on the other side. So you can go right through the building, skip going inside completely, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it requires a pretty precise item slide against this slope, though, so he has to do that first. It can definitely be really tricky, especially when you're under a lot of pressure in a run. Alright, there he goes. He was able to get it. And as you can see, he went all the way to the barrier. Ooh, very nice. Got a first try damage cancel right there with the Wind Waker. So this is the barrier in the Wind Waker. The first part of the barrier that Linkus just got past is the damage barrier, which he did by activating a cutscene on his last frame of invulnerability. And now he's going to use a very precise item slide to clip through the barrier just like that. And that basically skips, like, 80% of the whole game. So there it is right there. And then he can do one more item slide and make his way into Ganon's tower. That was extremely clean. Well done to Linkus on that.
It's a really good section.
And so right after the trick that saves about 2.5 hours, we get to do this other trick called Trial Skip in Ganon's tower, where normally you need to refight the bosses that you normally faced in dungeons, but using what's known as a ledge clip with a bomb, we can do that and leaf around to the loading zone behind the trials, and that saves about 10 minutes.
So pretty much if you drop a bomb by an edge and you climb on the side of the bomb, it'll push you through the wall.
And yeah, if it weren't possible to do Trial Skip, then this route wouldn't work out, because we would need items that we don't have. Yeah, so now Linkus is going to go through the Phantom Ganon maze and make his way to Light Arrows. The puzzle here is just, normally the game wants you to fight Phantom Ganon individually in each of these rooms, and then his sword points to the correct direction that you need to go. But thankfully the order is the exact same on every run you do, so you just memorize the order and then go through it. Linkus also pulled a bomb right there because that skips a 1-second animation of Link turning around to look at the door. Linkus unfortunately also got the worst the worst Phantom Ganon RNG with the red balls. What you want Phantom Ganon to do is spawn in a circle around you, because then you can attack him the quickest. Anyway, as Linkus gets Light Arrows right here, Ian's going to be going for the Hyrule Clip and then the Barrier Skip. Let's see how well he does with this here. Ooh, very nice. That was a really fast one.
Oh, we nearly fell off the edge. That would have sucked.
Mom's okay?
Yeah, so he's trying to do the frame perfect damage cancel right here. Can be a bit tricky sometimes. All right, there he goes. Get it? Now he's going to turn off gyro specifically for his barrier skip attempts, and it looks like he's using the upper left pixel alignment one. There are multiple setups that you can use for barrier skip, but both of our runners decided to use the same one today.
So one thing to note here when Ian's doing barrier skip, just in general how it works, is you got to cancel the gyro controls because you can't lose your angle. It's a very precise angle. And if you turn off the gyro when you're doing the item slide, you won't lose the angle when doing it.
All right, there he goes. He was able to get it. Second try's not too bad. And then he just has to do the last item slide to get across the broken bridge. And in he goes. Oh, good.
Funnel stairway is so fun. You can just slaughter all the enemies with the light arrows.
Yeah. Also, we'll notice on Linkus's run right now, he doesn't have the regular Master Sword anymore. He has the fully powered Master Sword and the Mirror Shield. This is just the same concept that applied earlier during the cutscene before with Ganondorf at the end of Forsaken Fortress 2. So the game just pretty much gave him those items as he entered into this cutscene. Ian right here doing actually the roll clip trial skip as a good backup for him to do since his item slide didn't quite have enough speed to get him to the door frame. So that was a good backup by Ian right there. So yeah, now it's time for Ian to go through the Phantom Ganon maze and for Linkus to fight Puppet Ganon. Which, out of the two bosses we face in this run, is definitely the hardest boss. Alright, so Ian also got the unfortunately bad Phantom Ganon RNG. Oh, and it looks like he was a little too close when quick spinning right there. So not all the red energy balls hit Phantom Ganon. Link is starting Puppet Ganon right here. He's doing the first phase, which is very difficult to do, as he's attempting to snipe the ball that's behind Puppet Ganon. He has to snipe it 3 times for the first phase to finish, so it looks like he got 1 in. He has to be wary of magic, though, because you do have limited magic when using the light arrows. He gets 2. Let's see if he can get the backup right here. And he does. Very nice.
Nice backup. Yeah, it's pretty tough, and if you don't choose to shoot the tail while it's swinging, you wait about 10 seconds per cycle.
Yeah, so now it's time for the second phase with the Spider Puppet Ganon. These last 2 phases are much easier compared to the first one. Linkus is going to shoot the tail. And then, unfortunately, he can't go for a trick shot that's called the Crypt Shot, which allows you to hit Puppet Ganon like twice. Thankfully, he got good magic RNG, so he doesn't have to wait around. He's also going to be damaging himself down here. And he's attempting to go for the Crypt Shot. Unfortunately, he missed it, but that's okay.
So you actually want to get hit on purpose by the boss here, because you need to be on low health for the final trick.
Yeah, and he's making sure to stay away from the Keys so that he doesn't take any of their hearts. Now he's going for the snipes on the 3rd phase. Ooh, unfortunately he hit the the little platform in the middle of the room right there. So he's going to go for quick spinning Puppet Ganon. He wants to get hit face on by Puppet Ganon these last 2 times so that he can take the damage that he needs. Ooh, okay. This last hit's going to be a little bit scary. He doesn't want Puppet Ganon to run into him.
He doesn't want to get hit. So.
Yeah, otherwise he's going to die. So.
This could be Ian's chance. He's playing it very safe.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, Puppet Ganon didn't respond to the bomb right there.
Oh, can add some lag to the game. Thank you, Morphs.
Oh,
Makes it even more scary.
So he's safe now for pulling out a bomb. Yeah, there he goes.
Alright. The Morphs helping out.
And with that, Puppet Ganon is dead, and Linkus is ready to go and fight Ganondorf.
But it's not over yet.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Ian could still take this. That's definitely possible.
You saw what happened to GDQ?
if you watch the GDQ run, yeah, you saw what happened to GDQ.
Like this trick doesn't have too much RNG to it, but it's still there's a lot of things to consider, like the whole setup and everything. So even the top runners will fail this sometimes.
Yes, Linkus has to damage down to a quarter heart here as he makes his way up to the platform. While he's climbing up, you can see how Ian does on his first phase of Puppet Ganon right here. Ooh, nice. Ian gets the very first snipe. Gets the second snipe. Will he go 3 for 3? He goes
Beautiful.
3 for 3 with a legend.
Perfect first phase.
Yeah, that was a perfect first phase. That's as good as you will ever see the first phase happen. Now it's time for the second phase right here. Thankfully, Ian has lots of magic. He only needs 1 magic drop from the keys to have enough magic for the rest of the fight. Looks like he's going for Crypt Shot. Unfortunately, he does not get it, but that's okay. He's hoping for a magic drop from the keys right here, and he gets 1. He gets 2, actually, but the second one isn't necessary.
No, Link is going for one of the most interesting setups in the game.
Yeah, so right here, Linkus is going to be going for the Morph Hover. So he's going to get close to a Morph, and he's going to attack it and let it hang on to him at the same time. Then he's going to try to hit it off, and then hope that it rolls off in a favorable direction so that he can be able to use that Morph as a health source for a zombie hover up towards the platform. Unfortunately, he didn't get any of the Morphs, so he has to just reload the room, but that's pretty quick.
So what happens is Link needs to be a certain distance from the morph when he hits it, and he also needs to stab in 1 frame without moving forward, I think it is.
Yeah, the Morph needs to grab onto Link as he dies. Because normally the only way that you can actually get a Morph to drop a heart is if you kill it with your sword. If you just leaf it up to the platform normally, then it will not drop a heart. All right, so Link has got a favorable direction right there. Also, Ian had an extremely good Puppet Ganon fight. Congratulations to Ian with that fight. He was able to get the Crypt Shot and had a very good third phase.
Second hit?
Oh,
that was
okay.
close.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, so now the Morph is up on the platform, and Linkus has to manipulate it to not fall off.
So you can't move too much, or else the morph will just keep constantly following you.
Yeah. So now he has to shoot the Morph with his bow, die with bombs, and then zombie hover up to the heart drop that's going to happen. So let's see if he gets it. So he gets the lift off, very good. Hovering looks
in a good
consistent
spot.
and stable. Yep, looks like he's going to get this, and there he... Yep, okay, very nice. So he was able to get the Morph hover, and now he's off to fight Ganondorf.
It's not a repeat of GDQ. Look pretty good.
So yeah, while Linkus is going through the final cutscene before Ganondorf, we'll see how Ian shapes up for the Morph hover right here as he's climbing the red rope.
It's actually looking like a pretty good time for this route.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's looking like 103-ish, 104 maybe.
Well, Linkus pick up the heart.
I would. If I was in that
We'll
position
see.
right now. Yeah.
Should ask chat if they wanted to pick up the heart.
Yeah, so Ian going for the Morph RNG right now. Looks like he gets it on the first attempt. The Morph's a bit far away, so he will have to blow it with the leaf for a while. And making sure to switch over to regular arrows so he doesn't shoot the Morph with a light arrow. If you shoot the Morph with a light arrow, then it doesn't drop anything, unfortunately. There is a little bit of RNG like to how the Morph moves. So the runners have to adapt to whatever happens. Yep, okay, so his Morph made it up top. And now he's repositioning it. Looks good. Turns to the side, does sidewalking to not activate the morph. And he shoots, places down a bomb, dies, begins his zombie hover. And he's looking pretty consistent with his button mashes. Very good. Yep. All right, so I'm pretty certain he's going to get it at this point, and he does. All right, excellent. First try morph hover from both runners. That's very good. Now we'll see if anyone dies to Ganon. Alright, so because you only get 1 heart from the morph, you're not allowed to get hit by Ganondorf at all, or else, your run's pretty much dead. You have to, you lose a lot of time, you have to come do the morph hover again and all that stuff, and it just wastes a lot of time, so you don't want to do that. There is an option, though, for health. The runners can use the grapple hook on Zelda to give themselves 3 hearts if they want to. Due to the lead that Linkus currently has, he can get those hearts and still win. So we'll see if he does that or not.
If he's a man or not.
If he's a man or not.
Basically. Some hues.
Lots of hues.
This is a lot of people's favorite Ganondorf in the Zelda series.
Yeah, this Ganondorf is very poetic. He talks about his love for the sea and everything. His love for Hyrule.
He's just slapping kids around. He pulls out blades. He's pretty cool.
Yeah. Alright, so as Linkus is getting ready to begin the Ganondorf fight here, there are 3 different phases to the Ganondorf fight. There's this first one where you simply have to do enough damage before Ganondorf comes over to shoot Zelda. So yep, Linkus got the extra hearts. And so now he has to wait for Zelda to shoot Ganondorf again so that he can attack him. He needs to do about 20 damage, I believe it is, to activate the next phase. And then Zelda has to shoot Ganon again once that happens. So there we go. So now Ganondorf's going to go over and actually slap Zelda down for the second phase. So now Link has to fight Ganondorf on his own. Let's see. He got 1 bad attack, but now he got a good attack with the parry. Hopefully he gets another good one.
There's 3 patterns on this Ganondorf fight, and 2 of them you can parry, and 1 you just keep swinging like an idiot.
Alright, so Linkus is getting set up for the final shot right here. Zelda's going to shoot the mirror shield, which will reflect the light arrow back at Ganon. And with that, Linkus has finished his run at 104.28, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So congrats on Linkus for winning the race. That was definitely pretty intense at the end.
It's the few little mistakes in the Forsaken Fortress 2, just kind of like put you in behind.
Yeah. But it's okay, now it's time for Ian to finish up the run. By the looks of this, he'll be getting probably a low 106-ish, probably. If the fight's done really well, it takes about 45 seconds to do. Also, I guess you could mention that there are some pretty funny ways that you can actually soft lock in the Ganondorf fight. I know Fuzzy has a personal experience with that.
Good time. Yeah, so the barrier at the back preventing you from going out of bounds has some really weird properties. It kind of knocks you down, and for some reason, if you get hit by it in the same frame as the cutscene, Zelda gets stuck in a light arrow animation for some reason, and there's nothing you can do apart from die.
Or save warp, yeah. You know, Ian is being a man. He is not going for the hearts, so if he gets hit, this is going to be bad for him.
He's a true winner of the race if he gets it.
Alright, looking good so far. He just has to land the final light arrow hit from Zelda. looks like he'll be good. Ganondorf's being pretty passive, and yep. And with that, Ian finishes with a 106.10, it looks like. So congratulations to Ian for that time. Both very good runs by our runners today. Generally, I would say the estimate for like a marathon or for a race run, you'd probably want to finish in under an hour and 10 minutes. So these are both very good runs by the two best runners of this game at the moment. So that was very good to both of them.
Especially with manual super swim in the run, because that you can lose like 4 minutes just alone to that.
Yeah. Welcome back, Linkus.
Oh, hey, mic muted again.
Hello.
Yeah. And there's Ian. Welcome back.
Hello. Hi.
How do you guys feel now?
Feel good.
It was overall a good race. I think, well, the manual super sense were like 20-30 seconds apart. Then I quickly opened the stream like a tingle, I think, and we were tied. So I'm sure for a viewer perspective, it was a good race to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were tied for like a good half of it.
Yeah.
Just near the end.
Yeah. The end was pretty monk-ass.
Oh yeah, you guys both had very good endings.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like once you guys each finished Forsaken Fortress 1, the rest was like very good for both of you, which was pretty cool.
I was pretty sure I was gonna die in Puppet Cannon though in the end there.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I
I didn't have much spare magic because I tried to go for a dumb like no setup trip shot for second one because I didn't have magic for the first one, and then because of that I missed the first shot and I had to go safe and I got hit 3 times. So I just stood far away. If you charge for me, I would have quick spin.
I tried. I saw you trying to throw the bombs forward at him.
Yeah.
The morph was a homie. He gave you a free heart.
Did you get the second crypt shot, Linkus?
No. I wasn't able to stand close enough to the ball to do the setup, so I kind of just YOLO'd it. And I didn't also hit Pup again in itself, so I had the light arrow delay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, overall it was a good run.
That was fun.
I'm pretty happy. I'm sorry, Chef, for not doing the 1 heart. I would have done it if I was not dead. I remember the last community race with our boy Gymnast in the lead.
Oh my gosh!
He went for the 1 heart and lost.
Oh my gosh!
So I did not want to repeat history.
Jim on blast.
That's so funny. Yeah, good stuff.
You had a really nice puppet gun fire as well.
Thank you.
It'd probably be like nearly a gold, if anything.
Yeah, that was probably close to one of my golds, I think.
Yeah, that run was kind of actually crazy. So I actually was using splits, and it was actually record pace for the no door clip route up until Puppet Cannon. It was a 1-on-1 pace until Puppet Cannon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it was a really good showcase. Like up until Puppet Cannon, like the only mistake was maybe like 2. It cost me 30 seconds. I think that was the only mistake, really. The rest was really good.
That was a good run.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I think with that, I believe we're almost ready to wrap up here. So, thank you very much, everyone, for coming to watch this showcase race today. I know I had a lot of fun commentating it along with Fuzzy or Charles or whatever he goes by over here.
But yeah, I think we're also planning on doing a raid right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
are we?
Yes.
I was not alerted to this, but apparently we are. Yeah, so everybody go raid Runner Guy 2489. He's a really cool guy. I'm assuming he's doing Ocarina of Time Bingo or Randomizer. So, yeah. I will see you guys later if there's ever another race that requires my commentary. Or
no, next time you're joining it, Jim. You're playing.
Next time.
So I joined as well with no manual super swim.
Yeah.
Struggle.
I'll do glitchless. How about that?
Oh no, please no. No, how about now?
I'll go nap instead. All right, anyways, go race runner guy. Thank you guys for watching the race. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for
guys.
joining us today.